In 1962, a janitor at NASA stumbled upon a classified document that would shatter everything we thought we knew about human history. The file contained proof that an advanced alien civilization didn't just visit Earth, they created us. But here's the terrifying part. They vanished overnight, leaving behind only cryptic warnings about humanity's future. Tonight, we reveal the contents of that document and uncover the shocking truth about why our creators abandoned us and what they predicted would happen next. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as Harold Morrison pushed his cleaning cart down the sterile corridors of NASA's Langley Research Center. It was 3:17 a.m. on October 15, 1962, just 2 days after the Cuban Missile Crisis had pushed the world to the brink of nuclear war. Harold had been cleaning these halls for 12 years, invisible to the scientists and administrators who passed him daily. He never imagined he would become the most important whistleblower in human history. As Harold emptied the wastebasket in Dr. Elena Vasquez's office, a partially burned document caught his eye. The header read, "Project Genesis Classification Level, Cosmic," followed by a stamp he'd never seen before, "Alien Heritage Initiative." His hands trembled as he carefully extracted the singed pages from the trash. What Harold discovered would haunt him for the rest of his life. The document detailed the existence of an extraterrestrial species called the Architects, beings who had arrived on Earth approximately 300,000 years ago during what we now call the Middle Paleolithic period. But these weren't conquerors or explorers. They were refugees, fleeing from something so catastrophic that they had no choice but to start over on our primitive planet. According to the classified files, the Architects possessed technology that defied every law of physics we understood. They could manipulate matter at the quantum level, bend space-time, and most remarkably, accelerate evolution itself. The document contained detailed genetic analyses proving that Homo sapiens didn't evolve naturally from earlier hominids. We were engineered. Dr. Vasquez's notes revealed that the Architects had discovered early humans and saw potential in our species. Using advanced genetic manipulation, they enhanced our cognitive abilities, extended our lifespans, and embedded specific sequences in our DNA that would only activate under certain conditions. We weren't just their creation, we were their backup plan. But perhaps the most shocking revelation was what happened to the Architects themselves. The document described how they had thrived on Earth for nearly 250,000 years, building incredible civilizations beneath our oceans and within our mountains, always remaining hidden from their human creations. They guided us subtly, inspiring our greatest leaps in art, science, and philosophy. Then, around 50,000 years ago, something changed. The final pages of the document were heavily redacted, but Harold could make out fragments of a terrifying truth. The very thing the Architects had fled from in their home galaxy had found them. The document referred to it only as the Silence, a force so destructive that it didn't just end civilizations, it erased them from existence entirely. Harold realized he was holding proof that humanity's greatest mystery, our rapid evolutionary leap, our sudden development of language, art, and complex thinking, wasn't natural at all. We were the last hope of a dying alien race, and they had vanished just as mysteriously as they had arrived, leaving us alone with a terrible inheritance. As Harold delved deeper into the stolen documents over the following weeks, a stunning picture emerged of our alien creators. The Architects weren't the gray-skinned beings of popular imagination. They were luminous, energy-based entities who could manipulate both matter and consciousness itself. Their technology was so advanced it appeared magical, operating on principles that merged science with what we might call spirituality. The files revealed that every major leap in human development coincided with direct architect intervention. The development of agriculture 10,000 years ago, Architects taught select humans how to cultivate crops that shouldn't have existed naturally. The sudden appearance of megalithic structures like Göbekli Tepe and Stonehenge, these were communication arrays built by hybrid human-architect teams designed to maintain contact across vast distances. But the architects' influence went far deeper than technology. They had embedded what the document called awakening protocols into human DNA, dormant genetic switches that would activate when humanity reached certain evolutionary milestones. These protocols explained sudden surges in human creativity, the simultaneous development of similar technologies across isolated civilizations, and even the recurring themes in our mythology and religion. Dr. Vasquez's research indicated that the architects had faced an impossible choice. The approaching threat, the silence, couldn't be fought or negotiated with. It was a cosmic force that consumed advanced civilizations, drawn to high levels of consciousness and technological development like a moth to flame. The architects realized that to save anything of their legacy, they would have to abandon their own advancement and start over through us. The documents described a desperate final project. Using their mastery over consciousness and genetics, the architects transferred fragments of their collective knowledge, memories, and even personalities into human DNA. We weren't just their biological children. We carried their souls within us, dormant but waiting for the right moment to awaken. This explained humanity's persistent dreams of flying, our intuitive understanding of mathematics and music, and our inexplicable longing to explore the stars. These weren't human traits. They were inherited memories from our cosmic parents, encoded in our very cells. But Harold discovered something else in those midnight reading sessions. The architects hadn't just disappeared. They had deliberately triggered their own extinction to hide us from the silence. By erasing all traces of their advanced civilization and scattering their essence among millions of humans, they had created the ultimate camouflage. To any cosmic observer, Earth would appear to be a young world with a primitive species just beginning to discover fire and language. The sacrifice was complete. The architects had given up everything, their technology, their civilization, their very existence, to ensure that some part of them would survive in us. But their plan came with a terrible risk. If humanity advanced too quickly or became too visible to cosmic observers, we might attract the same fate that had befallen our creators. Harold's investigation into the architect's disappearance led him to the most classified sections of the document. Pages so heavily redacted that entire paragraphs were nothing but black ink. But between the lines, a horrifying story emerged about the final days of our creators. According to Dr. Vasquez's reconstruction of ancient records, the architects had approximately 2,000 years to prepare for the Silence's arrival. This wasn't a physical enemy that could be fought with weapons or shields. It was something far more insidious. The Silence was a cosmic phenomenon that targeted consciousness itself, unraveling the very fabric of awareness and erasing civilizations not just from existence, but from memory itself. The architects had seen it happen before. Entire galaxies would suddenly become empty, their stars still shining, but their planets stripped of all complex life. No ruins remained, no artifacts, no trace that advanced beings had ever existed. It was as if the Silence didn't just kill. It rewound reality itself, editing out any evidence of the civilizations it consumed. Faced with this impossible enemy, the architects made the ultimate sacrifice. They developed what the documents called the dissolution protocol, a process that would scatter their consciousness across their human children while simultaneously erasing all evidence of their own existence. The process took generations to complete. Architect settlements were buried under shifting tectonic plates, their great cities sunk beneath rising oceans, and their most advanced technologies were broken down into component elements and scattered across the planet. Those architects who remained in physical form underwent a gradual transformation, allowing their bodies to dissolve while their consciousness merged with the genetic templates they had embedded in humanity. Dr. Vasquez had discovered evidence of this process in geological records that showed impossible formations, structures that appeared to be natural but contained mathematical precision that could only be artificial. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the Nazca Lines, Easter Island statues. These weren't human achievements, but carefully disguised architect monuments, designed to look primitive while containing advanced knowledge for future human generations to discover. But the most chilling revelation came in the document's final pages. The architects hadn't just disappeared to protect themselves, they had disappeared to protect us. Their research indicated that the silence was drawn to specific signatures: rapid technological advancement, unified global consciousness, and most dangerously, attempts to communicate with other worlds. By 50,000 years ago, the dissolution protocol was complete. The last physical architect had merged with the human genetic matrix, taking with them all evidence of their civilization. To any cosmic observer, Earth would appear to be exactly what it seemed: a young planet with a primitive species just beginning its evolutionary journey. The plan had worked perfectly. The silence passed through our solar system without detecting the hidden remnants of architect civilization sleeping within human DNA. But the documents contained a terrifying warning. This protection was only temporary. The final section of Harold's discovery would haunt humanity's future in ways that no one in 1962 could have imagined. Dr. Vasquez had decoded the architect's ultimate message, a warning embedded so deeply in human DNA that it would only become clear when our species reached a critical evolutionary threshold. The warning was simple but terrifying. The genetic awakening protocols built into humanity would begin activating when we achieved certain milestones. The development of nuclear weapons, global communication networks, space travel, and artificial intelligence weren't just human achievements. They were programmed triggers, designed to awaken the dormant architect consciousness within us when we were ready to inherit their true legacy. But there was a catch. Each activation made humanity more visible to cosmic observers. The very process that would grant us incredible abilities and knowledge would also light us up like a beacon to the silence. Dr. Vasquez's calculations showed that humanity had already triggered several awakening protocols by 1962. The Manhattan Project hadn't just created nuclear weapons, it had activated dormant genetic sequences in thousands of humans, explaining the sudden leap in scientific understanding that followed World War II. The space race wasn't driven purely by national competition. It was the result of inherited architect memories pushing us toward the stars. The document revealed that certain humans were already beginning to change. These individuals, scattered across the globe, were experiencing enhanced cognitive abilities, inexplicable knowledge of advanced physics and mathematics, and vivid dreams of technologies that wouldn't be invented for decades. They were the first of the true human-architect hybrids, and their numbers were growing exponentially. But the most shocking revelation was yet to come. The architects had programmed a final protocol into human DNA, one that would activate when our species faced extinction. This Phoenix Protocol would cause a rapid evolutionary leap, transforming humanity into something beyond our current understanding. We would inherit not just the architect's knowledge and abilities, but their very nature as energy-based beings capable of consciousness manipulation and quantum reality alteration. However, this transformation came with an impossible choice. Activating the Phoenix Protocol would save humanity from any earthly threat, but would also make us visible to the silence once again. We would have to choose between remaining safe but limited, or ascending to godlike power while risking the same fate that befell our creators. Harold Morrison died in 1995, taking his secret to the grave. But before his death, he had hidden copies of the documents in locations around the world, waiting for the right time to be discovered. According to his final notes, that time would come when humanity developed artificial intelligence, achieved global instant communication, and began seriously attempting to contact extraterrestrial life. That time is now. The Phoenix Protocol is activating. The question is not whether we are ready to inherit the architect's legacy, it's whether we are prepared to face what drove them to sacrifice everything. Because somewhere in the cosmic dark, the silence is still out there, waiting for its next victim to shine too brightly. And we're about to become very, very bright indeed.